Did you get to watch Tuesday's NXT?
I did. I mean, last week's edition I caught more so in highlight form. So this was really my first experience with NXT 2.0. And I think, you know what, looking at the roster, maybe a lot of people's first full experience with like a brand new roster. This felt totally different from the NXT of old. You know,
as Tommaso Ciampa calls it, the A show.
He can feel that way. Sure, he should feel that way. He's the champion. But this was a show where we were pretty much introduced to all the people that you usually do not see in the Performance Center who have been training. And you know what? Like, I know it's very different. It's not the Super Indie of old. It's not the takeover I think we all fondly remember. But taking it for what it is, and that's a show for developing talent, I actually really enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was fun seeing all these people get their first shot on national TV with their brand new characters for the first time speaking in front of a camera. And I thought, like, it to me, it was just like it was fresh in that aspect, and like the ability to just kind of to sense that for all of these people, this was a very important show, and it almost felt like an independent kind of like school assembly, like play that everybody was working on. I enjoyed it.
I had such a similar reaction both weeks that this felt like if we had watched a reality show on all these people about wrestling, and at the end they had to put on a show. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels there's some very heavy camp. I compared in my update today to elements of like the mid 80s Jim Crockett Promotions, where it was just quick, short squash matches and promos mixed with like elements of Glow, where it's these some totally over-the-top characters. Like, everyone has a character to them. Everybody is either, you know, it's a heavy percentage of athletic backgrounds that we're seeing here. Do you think that it is successful in the sense of getting all these characters introduced out of the gate, or do you think it's too much? Because both weeks, like, there are a lot of new acts that are being thrown out there. It was less so this week, but combined with week one, it's a lot of new names and faces.
I think it's a very tough task to try to introduce an audience to a brand new roster of like 20 different people, you know, and that's really difficult, at least in the second week, to accomplish. And I don't really think that's necessarily the goal. I think the goal is to get people at least started, and hopefully in a month, in 2 months' time, you get to be familiar with everybody. I think the goal with at least these first couple episodes is that you at least remember one or two names. I certainly think that they've accomplished that with Braun Breaker. I fucking hate that name. It's so bad.
He's the guy. He is the guy on the show. Like, he is so clearly the one that they are building things around. And I think for a guy that, I mean, the name seems to have been the biggest hang up with people, but for someone who had his first pro match last October, he's been doing this less than a year. I think he is very good for the level that he is at. It is so bizarre to be watching this guy, just the way, like, the singlet that he's given, he's literally doing the Steiner recliner, and they can't say it.
Yeah, I who knows what the idea is behind it? Like, I don't know. There's some weird philosophy that I guess they have that where they don't want to directly draw the line, but if you know,
then don't give him the recliner. It's like you're almost begging for it by you make Beth have to. It's a recliner. It just sounds so
at least disconnected. If you're gonna be coy about it, at least like call it the Breaker recliner or something. You know, give him the Franken Breaker or something like that. Like, I just the thing is. This guy is getting over, like, even on the internet, because of his similarities to his lineage, and that especially came across the moment this man opened his mouth. You know, the internet was abuzz talking about how much this guy sounds, you know, like his dad and like his uncle. And for that level of experience, I was actually really impressed by his comfort level on the microphone and in the ring, and clearly they are too, because they are immediately pushing him towards the title picture, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah, I think so. I think this guy's going to be rushed there. I'm looking at this guy as, I just hope he's not rushed to the main roster too soon. Like, he needs time to develop. Like, he's in the spot he should be. But, you know, there is a lot to this whole revamp. And part of it is kind of the endorsement of this system will be quickly funneling people up to the main roster. That's the sole function. This is not about career talent that is going to stay here. It is about, well, we're going to see over time what the roles of your Ciampas and Kyle O'Reillys and such are. But, you know, you're looking at your Ridge Hollands and Braun Breakers. And I will say the Lash Legend that they introduced on Tuesday night. This is
these names. I'm sorry.
I know this is Unreal Howard, who is 24 years old, and she is one of the biggest like athletic prospects that they have signed. She played in the WNBA. And what was interesting is that she is debuting next week. And you would think that, okay, high level athlete, you would assume like she probably, you would hope, takes to the physical side. They are giving her an interview segment to host. And that tells me they are very confident in her being able to carry that and the personality side, which if they have that confidence in her to give her this segment, coupled with the athletic background, to me, she is the one to watch here. Like, I think I have very high expectations for her, and I think they do as well.
It's for reasons like that of like, you know, seeing the real life consequence of, you know, this person that they just signed off of this thing performing on TV for the first time on live TV with no tightrope. Yep. That makes the show actually really interesting to me. It's not going to be the show where you'll watch and expect, you know, a 5-star classic, but I think it's enjoyable in a different way. I also was interested in them pushing Dante Chen, somebody that they promoted very heavily as their first Singaporean-born star, and just even doing a quick Google search on the guy. I mean, I feel like already paying dividends in terms of coverage on in Southeast Asia.
He's gotten like a lot of like print media that has covered him because of that.
Exactly. You know, in ring, like we didn't really get to see a whole lot.
He's pretty green, even in the minute that we saw him in. But they are, like, outside of, like, the Cruiserweight title match and the main event, like, we're talking 2 to 3 minute matches. They are keeping these very short.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, but, like, we have to look at these shows not necessarily as vehicles, again, for these 5-star classics. They are vehicles for business for the WWE.
This is the last segment of Saturday Night Live where they throw something out there and it's the last sketch of the night and we see if something's going to get over and they bring those characters back. Like that's what the show is somewhat becoming. I want to get your thoughts on a few of the characters that they're introducing. I really enjoy the former Harlem Bravado as Andre Chase, who they're giving like a Bobby Knight character to. I really enjoyed the segment where he just is teaching and almost doing like a Dean Douglas, breaking down how Odyssey Jones failed and then being asked, didn't you lose in the tournament? Who the fuck did you ever beat? A lot of swearing on this show, too, that they are introducing here. But I thought he played this character very well. I didn't think he got over too well at the wedding segment last week. But this week, they put more of a focus on him. And I liked the character this week.
I liked it, too. I guess I just kind of question it because of its similarities to the Tommaso Ciampa, the Timothy Thatcher gimmick. You know,
I think this guy's going to be much more animated and playing it up.
I suppose the whole like teaching in front of a class thing felt a little too close in a short amount of time, but I'm sure there's talent, and I hope that they're able to separate it a little bit in the future.
How about Joe Gacy, woke social justice warrior, who of course is a heel?
Yeah. I found it very interesting, and I'm actually surprised it took WWE this long to. I mean, Daniel Bryan, I suppose, if you want to kind of consider, a left-leading heel, but this one,
I think, a guy against pollution has to be a heel, yes.
But this one definitely a lot more on the political spectrum of things, and definitely kind of hitting those notes a little bit harder. And I enjoyed it. Like
he played it well. I think you really need a presence to pull this role off. I thought he did do that. Maybe he will do a bit next month where he will explain, I was invited to go to Saudi Arabia for a spot and I have turned it down. I will not work these Saudi Arabia shows.
Yeah, he gets like a WWE championship match against Roman Reigns and he turned it down. Because of his morals. No, I don't think they're gonna hit it quite that hard. And at no point, at least throughout the segment yesterday, did I really find it off-putting. I think everything kind of deserves, in pro wrestling, a lot of things in real life deserve us putting that microscope on it to see if it can be lampooned. And as long as I think he can straddle that line to not offend, and really just maybe poke fun in a I don't know, lighthearted way, like I see no problem with it.
And another element was how they rolled out pretty much everything for next week. We're getting 3 title matches. They're doing the delayed match between Raquel Gonzalez and Frankie Monet, Io Shirai and Zoe Stark against Gigi Dolan and JC Jane for the women's tag titles, Roderick Strong against Grayson Waller for the Cruiserweight title after Strong beat Kushida for the title, a no DQ match between B-Fab and Elektra Lopez, which would suggest that that match has to go at least some amount of time, which is going to be ambitious for those two, and then the debut of Lashing Out with Lash Legend.
Oh, God. So what is the taping schedule for these? Do you know, John?
I mean, they're doing them each Tuesday.
They're all live, all of them.
That's my understanding, yes.
Wow, okay. Because, yeah, that's a whole different ballgame, especially for some of these people with, like, you know, like different levels of in-ring experience. So maybe, I mean, in some ways, it kind of adds a bit of extra intrigue to me. But on paper, like, these aren't shows that are going to really excite anybody because nobody really knows who these people are. So I am actually, you know, surprised to see the rating hold up, and we'll see how it does next week.
My final point. My favorite interaction. Apparently now Trey Baxter and Cora Jade are an item. And I was able to determine this because after Trey Baxter's 1-minute loss to Dante Chen, he was in the back and Cora Jade came to a very down and depressed Trey Baxter and said, which I'm sure all couples have this exact verbiage between them. How long have we been together? Cheer up! Dante looked like a superhero out there. And as she walked away, Baxter reflected, superhero. So I think we are about to get Trey almost a superhero.
Oh, of course. Clearly, this is the every superhero origin. You lose
Ash Baxter, maybe. Yeah. Which to me, I gave way too much thought to all of this. But to me, and I've only watched this one little interaction, would it have not had more legs to it if we presented Trey Baxter as like having a thing for Cora Jade and she wishes him luck before the match, then he loses, we have the same interaction, but they are not together yet, and in order to win her over, because she notes what a superhero that Dante is, that he tries to win her heart by becoming a superhero. Instead, they're already together.
Man, that's some Notebook type
I gave way too much thought to Cora Jade and Trey Baxter, but I feel this is so Baxter backwards, this story.
Yeah, I mean, they could do it that way. I mean, I imagine you might see further development with this storyline where maybe they'll tell us a breakup story. And in order to get to that, they wanted to start them off already as a couple. I don't know. I'm sure we'll wait to see.
You know? We do await.